Hello everyone, my name is Varun Sodhani and I am a part of team DevOxys. Today we are here to present our idea on the problem statement number 1359. So what our problem statement essentially deals with is the creation of a knowledge management tool for contact center or call center employees working in different corporations that either provide services or products. In today's digital era, the nuance of customer experience plays a monumental role in dictating the success of an online business. With a vast landscape of competitors, it isn't merely about the transaction of a product anymore. It's the entire spectrum of a customer's journey with the brand that counts. A vital touch point in this journey arises when a customer has queries about the products or services offered by that company. So the efficiency and accuracy in addressing these problems can pivotally influence a potential loyal customer or a missed business opportunity. So drawing inspiration from giants like Amazon, which houses an extensive array of products and also services, as we can see with AWS. And this naturally accumulates a plethora of customer interactions with employees in call centers and also through their website where people can post questions about several products and other verified users can answer those questions. So we've identified several critical challenges in the customer support sector. So some of the pain points that we have observed as users of Amazon are that there is an information overload among the employees. The growing expanse of products listed in the company naturally leads to an information surge. Call center representatives often find themselves navigating through this maze, struggling to provide a perfect response and that too quickly. And another important problem that we have seen is inconsistency in responses. Because of a human interacting with another human and observing a large amount of data, there can be an inconsistency in the answers provided by different customer support technicians. The same query might get different answers from different representatives, which results in a confusing experience for the user, and that ends up frustrating the user who could change their preferred company or could just stop giving their business to you. So there is also a time delay element over here because as the company size grows and as more products and services are added to that company, that means the representative, the call center employee cannot search for information very quickly. So in today's world, we already know how everything needs to be fast. So this directly affects customer gratification, and that is one of the major pain points we had observed. Another big problem is that a lot of these call center employees cannot be trained pretty quickly because the size of the organization is so big that they need a lot of time to train their employees. So our service rather would help these companies hire people that would be minimally trained just on how to provide prompts to our application, and they would be ready to go. Understanding these pain points, our team has envisioned a state-of-the-art solution that aligns with the needs of the modern customer support landscape and leveraging the potential that machine learning provides and tapping into rich data sets like those of question answer pairs of Amazon. Our proposed tool aims to seamlessly match customer queries with pinpointed answers. This tool is not just about operational efficiency, it is our vision of setting an unparalleled benchmark in customer support. It's now time to merge technology with human touch and this will redefine the future of customer experience. So let's dive into our idea slide. Here you can see that there are sections for the employee, the admin, and the data science or ML engineer that the company has hired. Naturally, the role of the admin would be much more than the role of an employee or a ML engineer, because we need to uh, simplify the interface for the employee as much as possible. Because as I said earlier, that we need to make this uh, as simple for new trainees and old employees alike. So first of all, let's talk about uh, the power of dual encoder models, which we are going to be using in our application. So this is an enterprise grade application, which is why we can have huge models like a dual encoder model. Otherwise, if we were offering a free tier service, then we couldn't be able to afford it, because there aren't many hosting solutions that offer a free tier for the size of the data sets that we are expecting to find. So in our pursuit to develop top-notch solutions, we've chosen the dual encoder model as our foundational technology. But you may ask, why this specific approach? The dual encoder model has a unique architecture where it separately encodes the input, in our case, which is the customer queries, and potential outputs, which are the answers, in a shared space. By doing so, it efficiently gauges the similarity between the two, allowing for rapid and accurate matching of customer queries with the best possible answers. This methodology stands out from other conventional models in a few critical ways that I'm going to be talking about. Firstly, it's able to handle vast data sets like the kinds accumulated by giants such as Amazon, Microsoft, or any other multinational company that you can imagine. It is adept at capturing the subtle nuances of language variations, ensuring that even if a customer phrases a question slightly differently from the existing data set, the right answer is still most likely retrieved. This also depends on the size of the data set and the underlying encoder model that we are using. I'm also going to be talking about the actual encoder model that we are going to use, and that is a fantastic one. Additionally, compared to other approaches that might require sequential scanning of each potential answer, that is a tedious task. So our dual encoder performs this in parallel, ensuring lightning fast response times. In essence, the dual encoder model isn't just a technical choice. It's a strategic decision to prioritize accuracy and efficiency in our customer support tool. Um, let's move on to all of the sections. First of all is the employee section. The contact center employees can log into the fast and lightweight application with a minimal yet intuitive interface. Obviously, we want to keep the employees interface minimal, because they are going to be the users of the application, and they don't need to know the inner workings of the models and everything. That is the job of the admin and the DS or ML engineers. Employees can either enter the keywords from the customer's query, or they can simplify the language of the query for the model to understand. This is not that necessary, but it would obviously help the model to find the correct matching answer from the vast amount of data that we have with us. A provision to submit feedback to the model's responses will enable augmentation of the quality of replies in the next training iteration. What this means is that the an option to provide a negative or a positive response to the model's answer will be provided to the employee, and this will later on be used to better the answers from the model. Now, as you can see, the employee logs in here, then we are using DistilBERT for the underlying encoder model, I'm also going to be talking about why DistilBERT. This is a sort of knowledge base because this can keep expanding as the company grows or as the company provides us with new training data. Here is the feedback icon because the employee can submit feedback and then it will be retrained after every new addition of data or vast amount of feedback maybe. Then we come to the admin section. Apart from maintaining the integrity of the data sets required to train the model, the administrator also has to add new data provided by the data analysts. So this is in synergy with the DS engineers. They will provide the training data to the admin, and the DS engineers also have to be in constant contact with the company that we are working with. We are assuming it's Amazon because we could find a lot of training data for Amazon. But for example, if we create this application by keeping in mind a mid-sized company, then that company has to provide us with the data so that we can train this application, train this model, and then use it in our application. The administrator then has to monitor the responses of the model and relay any changes required to the ML engineers. This is pretty straightforward because the responses could accumulate a lot of negative feedback from the employees. Then we have to create a reporting system where the admin could tell the ML engineers to probably fix the training data or uh, find other ways to sort out the problems. A major part of the administrator's role is the integration of feedback received from employees. So this is a major part because once the model is trained, all the responses will accumulate a lot of uh, feedback from the employees. That could be negative or positive, but we still need somebody to integrate all of that feedback. And that is the admin's job because that is how our application is structured. Archival and maintenance of conversation logs to find most common queries from users. So more such questions can be added. This is a very important point because if we start maintaining conversation logs, then we can find out what were the most commonly asked questions, and then we can ask the company to provide us with more training data based on the questions that more users are asking. The administrator also stays in contact with the concerned company to suggest removal of outdated data. So this means that if the company stops selling a product or stops offering a service, then the questions related to those services or products need to be removed. Otherwise, that would just bloat the data set because companies frequently add and remove services and products. So that is a really huge task, which is why we have provided more space for fleshing out the details of what an admin is supposed to do. So first of all, the admin needs to verify his or her identity. He has to also maintain the database that is uh, all of the data sets that the company provides. And we are going to be storing that in Amazon Web Services, that is AWS S3, which I'm going to be explaining over here. Uh, then feedback integration, just like I talked about. Then we have data aggregation, which means collecting all of the data that the company gives, then maintaining conversation logs and monitoring all of the responses. The data science slash machine learning engineers, what are their roles going to be? So the data analysts collect more information about products and FAQs of the concerned company to expand the knowledge base. This can either be provided by the company or the data analysts could scrape the website or yes, they could scrape the website of the concerned company to extract all of the frequently asked questions about products and services. And ML engineers can retrain the model based on the new data from analysts and feedback from the administrator or stakeholders. Now I'm going to be talking about why we are using this particular tech stack. Uh, so let's start with Svelte. So for front end, we are using Svelte and Flowbyte, which is a powerhouse combination. Svelte is a radical new approach to building user interfaces, which allows for faster load times and smoother interactions. So this ensures that our application is not only functional but also user friendly. And we need to make it as user friendly as possible because we need to save the time of both the customer and the call center employees. Flowbyte complements Svelte by providing a collection of utility first CSS structures or classes, which makes our user interface very consistent and aesthetically appealing. The backend we decided would be created in Node.js because that is the most popular one and it's blazingly fast. Their non-blocking and event-driven architecture ensures our system can handle numerous simultaneous connections with high throughput, which is essential for a real-time application like ours. Then for our choice of databases, we have first InfluxDB, which will be storing conversation logs, and this emphasizes our commitment towards performance and scalability. It's specially designed for time series data, enabling efficient storage and retrieval of conversation logs based on when it happened, because it stores time series data. On the other hand, we have MongoDB Atlas, which offers a flexible schema, making it appropriate for storing employee profiles and the feedback that they provide to uh, different answers from the model. It's also a cloud. We also have it's it has a cloud native nature, which ensures reliability and scalability without the overhead of infrastructure management. Then for containerization, we have Docker, which is a very popular containerization solution. We are not using Kubernetes because that would be uh, a very tough thing to implement with the size of our data set. It packages the application with all of the dependencies into a standardized unit, which uh, solves the problem that people have that something works on their computer but doesn't work on other people's computers. So containerization solves all of that. For hosting, we are thinking of using either AWS SageMaker or AWS EC2, depending upon how expensive we can potentially go, because SageMaker doesn't have a free tier service that is really lucrative. So, which is why we are also thinking about using Docker, which would containerize the whole application, and then we could host it on AWS EC2, which has a really good free tier. And AWS S3 will be used to store the data sets, as I spoke earlier. SageMaker streamlines the deployment of our machine learning models, and it ensures that it's optimized for performance. And lastly, coming to the ML framework that we are going to be using, it's the Hugging Faces Transformer Library, which is at the forefront of NLP research and applications. By utilizing a specialized dual encoder model based on DistilBERT, from this library, we can ensure that our tool is backed by state-of-the-art technology, known for its accuracy and efficiency. Now let's move on to the next slide, where first of all, I would like to talk about why we are using DistilBERT and how transfer training can help our application. So transfer learning has revolutionized the machine learning landscape. At its core, transfer learning involves taking a pre-trained model which has already learned patterns from vast amounts of data and fine-tuning it to a specific task. This process allows for faster training times and requires significantly less training data to train a model from scratch. Uh, Now enter DistilBERT, a model that epitomizes the benefits of transfer learning. It was born from the renowned BERT model, but it still retains 95% of BERT's performance while being 40% smaller in size and 60% faster. These attributes make it a prime choice for real-time applications, ensuring our call center employees can receive prompt and accurate responses while interfacing with the system. Furthermore, the compact nature of DistilBERT the compact nature of DistilBERT means it's more efficient to deploy, reducing the overhead costs and streamlining the implementation process. Yet, despite its smaller size, it doesn't compromise on information retention. By incorporating DistilBERT into a tool, we are harnessing a model that has been trained on vast linguistic data, ensuring that it understands language nuances and can provide precise answers to a diverse range of customer queries. Now, having talked about DistilBERT, let's move on to the use case diagram. First of all, let's talk about the contact center employee, which is going to be the user of our entire application. To reduce the complexity of the employee's view, their interface will be kept very minimal. The employee submits a prompt based on the caller's query, and we are assuming that the contact center is for an e-commerce company because those companies provide a lot of data sets for us to train our model on. Our DistilBERT dual encoder model trained on a corpora of 1.3 million question answer pairs gets queried for retrieving the answer. Yes, we are using a data set that has 1.3 million question answer pairs from Amazon. As a fallback, a knowledge graph will query our specially trained GPT-2 model to generate an answer based on relations between brands, products, and features. Now, this is just a fallback option. Most of the time, it won't be needed because we have 1.3 million question answer pairs. So this is just a fallback option in case some widely different question comes to our employees. The employee can then mark the response as positive or negative, which will then be used to improve the model. The frequency with which employees submit a certain type of prompt will help us understanding the most common questions and the busiest time to provide more resources. So, for example, if more employees are querying our model during the daytime, like 3:30 to 4:30, then we can provide more resources to the model in the form of a faster CPU or scaling up the resources in AWS. Then we have the role of the ML/data science engineers. Data analysts stay in contact with the administrator to source verified data sets of FAQs from the company. This is pretty standard. They separate higher quality questions from the specialized models based on categories or subdivisions of the products that the company offers. So our data set also has a feature where we have categorized all of the questions that could be related to furniture. Let's say, for example, furniture, mobile phones, laptops, TVs, electronic items, apparel or clothing brands. We have categorized all of the training questions and answers based on such categories. ML engineers will be responsible for training and retraining the models after every significant addition to the data sets. ML engineers will also stay in touch with the administrator to remove outdated training and testing data, as I have talked about previously. Both ML engineers and data analysts will analyze conversation logs to request for proliferation of the data set for a particular category of products. Obviously, this has to be the role of the data science or machine learning engineers because they would be well versed with all of the nuances in the conversation logs. They will also analyze server logs to understand the time when more resources should be allocated to the app during the day. So like I spoke about in the contact center employee section, here the most busiest time will be calculated based on how many prompts are being submitted to our model. So they have to analyze the server logs, and also the conversation logs. Now coming to the role of the admin. The admin is responsible for monitoring the performance of the model on a regular basis. The decision to make changes or run new training iterations for any of the models rests with the admin. So for we are using DistilBERT in our case. So the admin decides whether we have to run a new training iteration, and that depends on the kind of data that is coming in from the company. Speed and accuracy benchmarks for answers, along with other prediction metrics, will be decided in collaboration with the ML engineers. So such benchmarks would keep on changing depending on the size of the company and the size of the data sets. The admin manages and archives conversation logs after they have been analyzed by the ML engineers. So obviously we need to save all of the conversation logs for later use. For a short-term usage, the ML engineers can analyze those conversation logs, but we still need an archival system, which will be AWS S3, as I previously talked about in the tech stack section. The admin works closely with the data analysts to improve the data sets by removing outdated answers and adding new customer FAQs. The admin, in consultation with the analysts, generates insights for the company and stakeholders to optimize costs for running the application. Obviously, since we are using AWS, that could run up a lot of cost to the company. So this is the decision of the admin along with whoever is going to handle the application's entire life cycle. They are going to decide whether they need to host it elsewhere, because for the purposes of this hackathon, we are deciding to host it on the free tier of SageMaker, and if not, then EC2. AWS S3 already has a pretty good free tier system, and we are going to utilize that to save all of the conversation logs and all of the data sets. Now coming to the final part of our presentation, which are the highlights and dependencies. The highlights are all of the positive points for our application, and the dependencies are all of the negative parts. So coming to the highlights, this is an enterprise application which is customizable for every company or organization which has customer support needs. So the good point about our application is that apart from training the models on Amazon, on data sets from Amazon, we can change the application whenever needed. We can create a new model based on our existing structure just by changing the data sets. So we could get a data set from Microsoft and then decide to change the entire application to a Microsoft application. This just depends on the size of the company and how they store their data, how they collect data. This is trained on a state-of-the-art, lightweight, and cheap NLP model with 125 times less parameters than the biggest model. So as you know, the biggest model is the Megatron model trained by, I think, Microsoft Azure and NVIDIA. They have trained Megatron, which has billions of parameters, and this has 125 times less parameters. That is DistilBERT. Transfer learning enables faster training time and better adaptability to specific queries depending upon the company. Since we are using a pre-trained model to transfer train it using our data set, it becomes more adaptable to certain specific queries that users might have based on the type of company like Amazon, or probably something that just offers a service instead of a product. This also includes a specialized generative model based on GPT-2 to act as fallback if the company supplies less training data. So what this point means is that for some smaller sized companies, they could be collecting data in a format that we couldn't use, or maybe they don't have good ML or data science engineers. So the size of the training data could be less, but then we can fall back to our GPT-2 model that we are also going to be training and adding to our application. The dependencies are we are using cloud platforms like AWS, and they frequently change the scope of their services, adding to the overhead of operational costs for migrating to a similar service. So AWS, all of AWS services are available in either some Microsoft competitor or something like DigitalOcean. So just changing or migrating to a similar service could bring an overhead of operational costs, and also it could be time consuming. This is a dependency because we are using a cloud platform. If the company has native storage and maybe a lot of servers, then we could just host it in-house. Then we wouldn't need cloud platforms, and this entire dependency could just be eliminated. Initially, the responses will be derived solely from the embeddings of the training dataset, as there will be an absence of feedback from staff members. This is this is obviously because initially the model's weights and embeddings will only depend on what kinds of question and answers we are using, and there will be an absence of feedback from staff members, so we couldn't adjust the weights and embeddings initially. Analysis of conversation and server logs introduces tools that may offer only a premium tier service. Now we are not implementing any method to analyze the conversation or server logs. That is the duty of the ML or data science engineer. We are simply providing a way to store all of those conversation and server logs. We are not going to be analyzing those, but they could come only through a premium tier service, and that is up to the company if they need that or not. So this was our entire presentation about the creation of a knowledge management tool for a contact center.